It is the day after the season ends. Exit interviews are complete. The Magic are going their separate ways. The vibes, at least what I can gather from exit interviews, and what made this Magic team special. We're going to get to all of that as we decompress a little bit and prepare for the future on today's episode of Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is May 6th. Tomorrow will be May 7th. I am the 7th. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, we're going to decompress a little bit, take a deep breath, recap the vibes and the feelings from exit interviews, talk a little bit about what made this Orlando Magic team so special. We're just going to kind of take some deep breaths. We do have a BetterHelp ad coming up later today as well, just to kind of get ourselves through this as we still collect our thoughts after the Magic season ended on Sunday. We're going to get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, no matter when you listen to us, whether it's first in the morning, whether it's right when we upload. We truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. Remember, there's a great Locked On podcast covering every single team in the NBA. Just search for Locked On and the team you're looking for, the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. When we left Cleveland and we left Franz Wagner, he seemed a little despondent. For good reason. Shot 1 for 15 in Game 7. It's going to be a stat line that's going to haunt him for a while, and one that he admitted was going to haunt him for a while. One that he said will drive him through the summer and through the offseason, as he did not play up to his standard, up to to what he expects of himself. It was disappointing, and there's he would say that, you would say that. Still love the guy, but it was tough. It was a tough afternoon for Franz Wagner. But we've had 24 plus hours now. My last episode is now more than 24 hours old. The team has gone through their exit interviews. They filed through the AdventHealth Training Center. Cleaned out. I don't think they cleaned out their lockers anymore because all those guys live in the facility. But they said their goodbyes. They got their offseason workout plans, their exit interviews with Jamal Mosley, with Jeff Weltman. They had a chance to decompress and reflect on the season. And we've all had a chance to come down from the disappointment of a Game 7 loss. I loved what Mike Bianchi wrote for the Orlando Sentinel when he said, he quoted JJ Redick as saying, when you cry at the end of the season, it's special, or a season is special if you cry at the end of the season, because if a season means that much to you and it ending in any way, whether it's at the top or where the Magic ended it, means something to you, it means it was something truly special. And we're going to talk about what made this Magic team special. But what made things exciting, what made things really hopeful coming into this game, or coming out of this game, is that the Magic understood and realized what they've accomplished this year. The Magic, to a man, all said, we didn't accomplish all of our goals this year. Let's make that perfectly clear. They didn't accomplish all their goals, but they accomplished a lot. They showed they can be a playoff team. They showed they can win night in and night out. They showed what they're capable of. They were top 3 defensive team in the league. And they were top 5 pretty much the whole year. There's maybe a week and a half where they're 6th or 7th. They proved to the entire league what they are about and who they are. That's all you can ask for. And Jamal Mosley said it after Sunday's game, after game 7. He is truly proud of his team. That moment sucked, as we talked about yesterday. It stunk. It still stings. It's hard. I updated my bracket when I finally got home. Long day for me. It stings to move the Cavs to the second round and not the Magic, and it has to sting. It has to be awful. But everyone recognized that this is not the end of their journey. There's been a couple people I really do like this. Jeff Weltman kind of dismissed it because he's not into these kinds of narrative frames, but we're journalists. We do this. A lot of people are calling this not the end of the Magic story, but the end of this chapter and the opening of the next chapter, of the next verse, of the next line in the story, of this epic story. Let's call it an epic story. I'm a fan of epic poetry. This Magic team found its identity this year. They found their formula. They found each other. And they made the most of this wonderful season. They really, frankly, made us all believe again. I don't think any of us believed the Kia Center could get that loud consistently. I think all of us were ready to believe that something was building within this Magic team. But we were unsure how quickly it would be delivered. I sat here in this very chair and predicted that the Magic would finish 10th or 9th in the East, play in that play-in game and get a little taste of what the playoffs are like. But I didn't think they were going to do this. And again, I tell people this all the time. I love to be proven wrong. Prove me wrong. I don't like making predictions because I like to just watch and learn. But prove me wrong, please, because then I learn something. Just like this team has learned something with every mistake, with every failure they made. That's honestly been the amazing thing about this team. And what absolutely stinks about Game 7 is that they don't get an opportunity to show us what they've learned again. That's what sucks about the day after. But honestly, the vibes that I got from exit interviews, and full disclosure, I arrived as soon as I could. I took a 5:50 flight from Cleveland to Baltimore. I was on a plane from Baltimore at 8 o'clock in the morning to try and get to Orlando for 10 a.m. exit interviews. I walked in the door at 12:30 and everyone had talked already. I really only I spoke with Wendell Carter and I spoke with and waited for Jeff Weltman. So I am reading all the same vibes off of videos that you guys are. The vibes I feel like from this Magic team are, yes, a little disappointed they're not in Boston. I think everyone said I'd rather be in Boston today than here. But a lot of gratitude for what this season represented and for what this season is. I know I said this on yesterday's show. This is a Magic season we will talk about for the rest of franchise history. This is the heart and hustle season. This is the 1994 season, year 5, the Magic arrived. This is the finals runs. This is up there with the great seasons in Magic history. Something that all of us who experience it, all of us who watch it, we will treasure this team forever. And look, there are going to be changes. There are going to be adjustments. We're going to start talking about what the offseason has planned for the Magic on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic. I want to continue decompressing and celebrating what we just went through and the season we just watched, because it was a special season. There's no getting around it. This was a special year. A year where there is a lot for Magic fans and for this team to be proud of. And they accomplished a lot. There is still more to do. There's still more that this team will have to accomplish. But the day after, the Magic were not forlorn. They were not sad. They were not stuck in that moment. They were proud of what they did together. They were optimistic about what's yet to come for this group. understanding that they are a team that grows from these hardships, that grows from these mistakes. And frankly, eager to get some time off. We all are. I'm taking tomorrow off. I still record a podcast for you guys tomorrow. Don't worry, but I'm taking tomorrow off. There's a lot to be proud of. And I think for all of us, as disappointed as we might be in the result of Game 7 and that we're not preparing for a game on Tuesday, that we're not still in the thick of things, I think for all of us, it is important to take that step back, take a deep breath, and celebrate this season we just experienced. We will talk then about what truly made this season special, the togetherness that built the Orlando Magic that is essential to their culture. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, I mentioned it earlier, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at BetterHelp. Sometimes we all need the opportunity to get something off our chest. Big or small, certain things can really start to get to you. It's important to let that out, especially to someone who is unbiased on your life. Anytime you get the chance to de-stress is a good thing. Look, it's the end of the season. We've all been through a lot. It's okay to take a break from basketball. I'm going to take a little break tomorrow. I'm going to enjoy my day, take my mental health day that I've been putting off because the playoffs are here and I didn't want to take my attention away from that. We all need a chance to get away. We all need a chance to take some self-care. Sometimes we don't know how to do that. And therapy can be different for everyone, but therapy can help us find that self-care. We all have bigger problems in our favorite sports team. It's important to get things off your chest every once in a while and release that stress. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be flexible and suited to your schedule. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. We want to thank you for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. If you're watching sports TV all day, you're probably sick and tired of all the screaming. I know I am. That's why I don't watch a lot of sports TV during the day. So make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, it's your team every day. The unfortunate thing about Monday, and the unfortunate thing obviously about the end of the season is we know this is not going to be the same next year. We know that this team will change. Change is inevitable in this league. We've said it a million times. If you're not moving forward, you're moving backward in this league. There is no standing still. And Orlando is certainly still a team moving forward. Like, they could bring back a lot of the same roster, and Paolo Banchero will still get better. Franz Wagner will still get better. Jalen Suggs will still get better. And so, Jeff Weltman made this point, and we will talk more about this tomorrow. Internal improvement is still the biggest factor in this team and this franchise's improvement as they try to now break through to the second round, as they try to do better next year than they did this year. And to be very clear, the expectation for the Orlando Magic will be to get to the second round. You don't get to a game 7 with the youth on this roster and not push yourself forward that much more. That's going to be the expectation. And Magic players throughout the course of the day all said the same thing. Home court advantage matters. If we would have had home court advantage, we would have had game 7 on our floor. We would have won the series. The Magic firmly believe that. So that battle line, that goal is already out there. Understanding that beating Memphis on that random Friday in February, beating Charlotte in April, all those games matter. Not losing the game to the Kings or one of those 2 games to the Kings. Those games all matter. And it's going to be tough to do it again. But like I said, today I want to reflect on this team and on this season. And why this team is going to be one of the all-time Magic teams. Why this is going to be one of, Heart and Hustle will always be Heart and Hustle, the 1999-2000 team. This team will probably be second, if not third. I'll give 09 some credit. among the most beloved teams in Magic history. There is a newness, there is a freshness to this group, but I think really what separates this team from just about any team in Magic history is their togetherness, is their fight and belief in each other. This Magic team was special because they truly had, as Jamal Mosley likes to call it, a by-committee culture, but they truly had a culture of sacrifice where everyone was pulling for each other. And you could feel that in everything they do. So many players said, this is not normal for an NBA team. The way this team acts, the way this team bonds, the way this team fights for each other on and off the court is not seen around the NBA. To see pretty much every player on the Magic roster pull up to Cole Anthony's charity bowling event in March was unbelievable. You know, just seeing them just be relaxed in that setting for one of their brothers. The coaches pulled up too, by the way. This honestly, we could talk about so many things about this Magic team, about their defense, about what they do on the court. This togetherness is the heart of the Magic's culture. This is what makes the Magic the Magic. That they're all together. That they're all believing and pulling together. That they are all in this fight together. And recreating that, and recreating the setting and the scenario that created that, that's going to be the most difficult challenge of repeating what Orlando did this year. Because the kind of chemistry and the kind of group that they had is lightning in a bottle. The Magic earned a couple more wins because of how close they are. And you hope as the pressure ramps up, that this camaraderie, that this spirit is the thing that carries over year. That this is really what the Magic culture is about. We can talk about Heat culture and their tough-nosed defense and all that stuff. Magic culture is about a lot of the same things. It's about defense. You know, this is a hard-nosed defensive team. This is a hard-working team. But it's about doing it together. It's about a true brotherhood. Something that you just don't see very often in the professional ranks. And that joy that they bring to the games, that was on display throughout the course of the season. In hard times, this team found ways to smile and lift each other up. In good times, that joy sparked them to win games in rollicking fashion. It gave them a confidence. It gave them a boost. And when guys were having tough moments, whether it was Wendell Carter, whether it was Cole Anthony, whether it was Jalen Suggs, whether it was Paolo, whether it was Franz, when they were going through tough times, they had a shoulder to lift them up. When we think about this Magic team, and you know, we will have a long time to talk and reflect on what this season means, and certainly part of what this season means is based on where they go next. I hate to say it. The Heart and Hustle team was great because it was just kind of this flash in the pan that was just unbelievable. A lot of fun teams die off because they don't build on it, because they don't take those next steps, because the pressure does get to them. The 2009 team is beloved. The 2010 team is looked at as a disappointment, even though that team was just as together and just as special as any other. They failed to live up to the pressure. And that's what the Magic have to do. They have to keep this togetherness. They have to keep this culture. They have to keep this identity while continuing to improve and to produce results on the floor. The Magic have made it clear that they are a process-oriented team. They believe that if they do the right things, if they build the right culture, the results will take care of themselves. And in large part, they will. But the pressure for this team is about to ramp up. What this team has to deliver on a nightly basis, what this team is expected to do by the fan base, by the front office perhaps, is about to grow. It's about to get tighter. It's about to get a little tense. But what made this team special and what can make this franchise special is exactly the kind of culture and exactly the kind of attitude their players brought this season. What stinks about Monday, what stinks about exit interview day is that there is not another day. There's not another opportunity for this team to be together. Sure, they will probably, those who stay in town will probably still work out together at the training center, but there's no more practice to get in with their brothers. There is no more game to keep fighting and striving together because this group is going to change. They're not bringing back all 15 guys. Chuma Okeke, who's a big glue guy in that locker room. Admiral Schofield, who is a huge glue guy in the locker room. He admitted that his role, he was happy playing a coach's role almost in the locker room, being a locker room guy for this team. Those guys are gone. Maybe Admiral's back, maybe not, but those guys are gone. New players will come in, and it'll be important that they fit into the kind of culture and atmosphere the Magic are trying to build. Because what they had this season was truly lightning in a bottle. What they had this season was something truly special. And that's what we will always remember about this team. When we come back, we will close up some thoughts on the Magic, begin looking ahead to what comes next. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, it's time for a quick word from our friends over at DoorDash. Mother's Day is Sunday, everybody. You got to get something thoughtful for your mom, and DoorDash leaves everything at your fingertips. Surprise her from wherever you are with fresh bouquets, the latest tech, gift cards, self-care treats, and more to make her day that much better. It's never too late to show mom your love this Mother's Day, and if you're running a little bit late, DoorDash certainly helps you make up for some time. Get thoughtful gifts she deserves with the convenience you need. Choose same-day delivery or schedule a week ahead for when flowers and gifts should arrive to her door with DoorDash. Shop with savings that would make her proud. With a Dash Pass membership, you'll save with a $0 delivery fee and reduced service fees on eligible orders from Dash Pass merchants that meet the minimum subtotal. Other fees, including service fees, apply. Terms also apply. Order now and get everything you need for Mother's Day on DoorDash. Use code LOCKEDONNBA to get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15+ on your next flour, convenience, grocery, or retail order now on DoorDash. That's Locked On NBA. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. You can kind of tell we're still mourning a little bit here. I'm just kind of realizing that my tone's a little bit dour, and some of that might be because I am running on fumes here, having woken up very, very early in Cleveland to try and get back to Orlando as soon as I could. It's a sad day. This team was really special. This was a fun season. Most fun season I've had covering this team. I've covered this team since 2012, since 2020. I've covered this team since the 2010 season, but in the locker room since the 2011 season. This is the most fun group I have covered. Might be the best team I have been around. I'll give 2011 its credit, but this group was really special. And it stinks that we won't see this group as composed play again. But let's end today's show on a hopeful note. Let's end this collective grief period before we get back to the work of figuring out, okay, how does this team get better? And we'll dive into what Jeff Weltman had to say on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic. We'll dive into some of the early rumors. I've got plenty more to say. We're going to dive into all of that very, very soon. So we'll get to that coming up. Let's end on a hopeful note, because frankly, the Magic left the AdventHealth Training Center very hopeful. They left the building today, off into their off season, off into their summer, believing that the best is yet to come. They are not sad. They were sad in that locker room. They were sad probably on the flight home from Cleveland, but with a chance to sit back, reflect on the season and they would love to be in Boston. They'd rather be in Boston right now than Orlando. I'd rather be in Boston than Orlando right now. It's cold there. I like cold. I want to see John Krause. John Krause is a good dude over at Locked On Celtics. as much, they'd rather be in Boston, but they've had the chance over the last 36 hours or whatever it is to reflect on their season, reflect on all they accomplished, and understand there is so much more to do and so much more they are capable of doing. If anything, the Magic left the facility on Monday excited for their future, believing that they are the ones in control of their future, that they are the ones who will break through and be better next season. Yes, there's a lot of tired bodies that need some rest and are eager to get off their feet for a little bit and slow down and take some time for themselves. And please take some time for yourself. I'm taking some time for myself tomorrow. I may not be on tomorrow. I may take the whole day. I may actually take the whole day off. I might deserve it. I don't know. But this is a team that knows greater things are ahead. That Paolo Banchero just completed one of the best playoff series we have seen from a 21-year-old and shined on the biggest stage he's ever been on. That Franz Wagner had a bad shooting year and yet still put up career numbers. That this is a guy that they know and believe in to get better and to use whatever failure he had on Sunday as fuel to push him forward. This is a team that knows and believes wholeheartedly in their coach and the culture they are building. If this Magic team is going to welcome some new players, there is certainly the belief, and I will believe it, that they have strong leaders who will bring that player into their culture, who are not going to stand for someone that doesn't buy in to what they do. And that's a powerful thing. This is a team that fully believes in what is possible for this team moving forward and possible, frankly, next year too. They are excited to get back to work and are excited for October to come already. That's the kind of season the Magic had, where, yes, we are disappointed that the Magic lost. We are disappointed that there is not another game to play. But we are excited for the season ahead. You're excited for what comes next. Because we all felt it, whether you were in Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, and shout out to the fans and family members that sat behind the Magic bench, brought energy all game long. Whether you're in Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse for Game 7, whether you're at any of the playoff games, especially at the Kia Center, whether you watch it on TV, everybody feels it. Everybody feels this is not the end of the story. Game 7 is the end of the season, but not the end of the story. And we all can't wait to see what happens next. I want to thank you all for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at @PhilipRR_OMD. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the podcasts to your podcast-enabled device. You can find us on YouTube as well. Just search for Locked On Magic or youtube.com/@LockedOnMagic if you want to see my tired, smiling face instead of listening to the podcast. They both work. You can do both, actually. Do both. It helps me if you do both. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can follow us on Twitter @OMagicDaily. And be sure as well to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, for even more Orlando Magic content. I'll be posting player evaluations, eventually doing my What Went Right, What Went Wrong series that I usually do on Orlando Magic Daily. That will be on my Patreon page this year. So if you want even more season recap, patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. Really appreciate all of your support. It's been awesome to have the support this season, allowing me to go on some of these road trips, allowing me to do more of these things. I want to create a space for you. So definitely check out Orlando Magic Hub throughout the offseason. Now that you're done listening to us, be sure to check out the Locked On Sports Day 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube and now available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, like me, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. On our next episode of Locked On Magic, it might be tomorrow. I might take tomorrow off. I'm not going to lie. I'm taking a day tomorrow. It's been a long day for me today, and that's Tuesday. But on our next episode of Locked On Magic, we'll talk about what Jeff Weltman had to say at exit interviews. what it says about the Magic's future, and start diving into some of the rumors that have already come out and keep coming out. We'll get to all that and a whole lot more as we begin to look ahead to the future as well as recap the season. Plenty more to do on Locked On Magic, even though the season's over. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.